I've said this repeatedly. I don't know why it's so hard for some to comprehend it, so let me repeat it again. A visa, no one's entitled to a visa. There is no constitutional right to a visa. Okay, a visa is a permission to enter our country as a visitor. If you enter our country as a visitor, and as a visitor in our country, be it a student, a tourist, a journalist, whatever you want to be, and you undertake activities that are against the national interest, the national security of the United States, we will take away your visa.
America, 200,000. That is the number that the State Department is sitting on right now. If that goes through, that is the biggest mass visa revocation in history of this entire country. Bigger than anything under Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, bigger than anything under Trump's first term, bigger than the entire 2017 travel ban put together. And here's the situation. Officials, they won't give you the firm number yet. They call it dynamic, rolling basis, like them rollover minutes from AT&T. That, my friends, is government speak for we don't know how high this is going to go yet.
Like another issue, what's the Trump administration doing about revoking visas?
Well, Brett, the Trump administration is expected to launch the largest mass visa revocation in history, targeting up to 200,000 foreigners over time, according to officials. They are business and tourism visas of foreigners who have applied or are actively currently seeking asylum in the U.S.
What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Here is the plain and easy to understand version. No spin absolutely needed here. There are B1 and B2 visas. These are business, trip, tourism, family visits, medical use type visas used anywhere from 2016 to 2026. The target is the people who came here on one of those, then filed asylum once they were already standing on American soil, trying to turn that quote unquote short visit into a permanent stay, like that person that comes over and doesn't know when to leave your house. And most people don't even know every single person applying for one of these visas already has to sign a line on a form promising that they will not turn around and file asylum once they're already in the United States, once they're already in the country. That's not new. That is not a new situation here. That's already on the paperwork as of today and has been.
Yeah, we're doing a complete review. This is just the beginning. And, President Trump, as you said, takes, visa is the greatest privilege this country, one of the greatest privileges this country gives. I mean, it's a privilege to come to the greatest nation on earth.
Two things here, you guys. Be truthful about who you are. Obey the laws once you're here. That is the entire ask. And somewhere between 2016 and now, 200,000 people couldn't manage either one of those situations. Here's how they built the list. This isn't some new situational task force here cooking up a witch hunt. The documents actually show that the screening process started after the State Department pulled direct data feeds from Citizenship and Immigration Services. That is the exact same agency that either approves or denies your asylum claims. In plain English here, you guys, the same agency that decides your asylum claims is the same agency that hands over the names for the State Department to actually check. Two government databases got cross-referenced against one another, and 200,000 names didn't match up clean.
We have some breaking news now. The State Department has just exclusively revealed to Fox that it's revoked 175,000 visas since the start of President Trump's second term. That is up from the 100,000 in December. The majority of the new revocations were over criminal activity, including sexual assault, child abuse, fraud, reckless driving, and embezzlement. Multiple visas were also revoked for immigrants who celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Sit with that for a second, you guys. Actual assault, child blank. I got to say that for YouTube purposes. Fraud, embezzlement, and people who watched a political assassination and decided to celebrate it out loud on a visa this country handed them as a guest here. That is not a paperwork error. That, my friends, is an absolute choice. So is 200,000 really the record? Let's check the last time anybody actually tried this. Back in 2017, a Justice Department attorney told a federal courtroom that over 100,000 visas got pulled in a single week during an original travel ban. The State Department pushed back and said the real number was under 60,000. Nobody settled which number was actually true or not.
Look, my job at the State Department is if I identify someone who I believe is present, someone who who's a visitor, a guest to the United States, and we identify that their presence in our country poses a threat to our foreign policy, to our national security, we're gonna take that person's visa away. We're gonna take their visa away. That's what we're gonna do. We've done that in a lot of cases over the last year. We've done it. Fact is that, you know, visas are not a right. I've said this repeatedly. I don't know why it's so hard for some to comprehend it, so let me repeat it again. A visa, no one's entitled to a visa. There is no constitutional right to a visa. Okay, a visa is a permission to enter our country as a visitor. If you enter our country as a visitor, and as a visitor in our country, be it a student, a tourist, a journalist, whatever you want to be, and you undertake activities that are against the national interest and national security of the United States, we will take away your visa. In fact, if we knew you were going to do it, we probably wouldn't have given you your visa. That's what we do. The decision to remove someone from our country after we take away our visa, you know, that belongs to other agencies of our government. As far as judges are concerned, you know, judges, you know, that's a different branch of government. They're not going to tell us how to conduct the foreign policy of the United States.
Even the disputed high number from 2017 tops out at about 100,000 people. This new number is targeting double that. And it's not getting rushed out during a chaotic week or news cycle. It is being built on paper methodically ahead of an announcement that nobody even made quote unquote official yet. Here's the actual machine, and it's simpler than it looks here. Nobody had to write a new law about this situation. No, the affirmation was already sitting on the visa application. The data sharing pipeline between the state and USCIS already existed. All that changed is somebody finally deciding to open up both of the files at the same time and basically compare them. It's not a new weapon getting built here. It is an old drawer finally getting opened and the exact promise sitting on that form the entire time.
Well, I think Secretary Rubio, really, it's hard to build on what he said because he's exactly right. It's a right. It's a privilege and not a right. Look, it's an administrative function that the United States government provides to allow individuals to come in. And there's a certain set of rules that they have to play by. And if the Secretary of State believes that they have violated those rules, then he can revoke those visas. And look, the left and the critics of this have no moral standing as they sat by silently for 4 years during the Biden administration and watched any number of individuals come across that border and said absolutely nothing, criminals and others. And so what Secretary of State Rubio is doing is correct. And you'll likely see more and more and higher numbers of these revocations.
A former acting DHS secretary told you and me on camera, this is an administrative function that has always belonged to the Secretary of State, aka Marco Rubio. Nobody invented new power here. Somebody just decided to finally use the power that was already sitting at the desk. Now here's the part that actually cost you something, and I'm going to show you that part and what it actually cost you because it doesn't end up being a visa. But I want you to hold on to that for a second because this video sponsor ties in perfectly to that. Everything in this story comes down to one thing. Nobody opened up the drawer and it was all sitting there the entire time and no one person decided to actually look. Now, be honest with yourself for just a quick minute. When was the last time that you actually looked at your car insurance? You signed it once, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago, maybe 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And every year since that time, they've quietly moved up that number that you're paying and mailed you a renewal that you didn't actually read. That is not a company doing anything shady. That is a company betting that you'll never actually open up the drawer. That is why I am proud to partner with today's video sponsor, Smarter Auto. It is free. It takes 2 minutes. All you need is your car, your zip code, done, finito, burrito. It puts real quotes side by side so you can finally see what everybody else in the industry is actually charging. You pick one and it sends you straight to that link. And you guys, I'm not standing here promising you a check. Maybe you look and your car insurance rate is just right. Perfect. All this takes is 2 minutes and you actually know instead of guessing. Go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen or the link will be down in the description down below. All right, guys, let me show you exactly what this costs. Losing a visa doesn't mean instant deportation. It's not like, you're gone, you're getting deported, deported, okay? Most of these people get what's called recategorized, and their asylum cases keep moving through courts separately on their own track. That means the exact immigration court backlog that we've talked about several times on this channel, and you probably hear it every single week, doesn't shrink because of this. It actually grows. Every one of these recategorized cases, they still need a judge. They still need a docket set. They still need a translator because none of these fools learned how to speak English. A public defender, obviously. That public defender needs to speak Spanish or whatever language because they didn't bother to learn the language. Paid for the same way that it's always paid for. And these invoices, obviously these invoices add up. 175,000 visas already pulled in the last 18 months for crimes and celebrating an assassination. 200,000 more are now on the table, turning a tourist visa into a permanent asylum backdoor. That's pushing 400,000 visas pulled over under 2 years. 400,000 court filings, 400,000 processing costs, and this is partially the reason why the State Department still won't commit to the ceiling. America, they put "you will not apply for asylum" on your visa form. In plain English, we already know how that rolls because, like I said, most of these fools don't even know how to speak English. Years before this situation that we're talking about ever made the news, 200,000 people signed that line and did it anyways. Nobody snuck through a hidden crack in the system. They walked straight through the door with a sign already posted on it. And the government is just finally deciding to read its own paperwork. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.